Welcome to an extra special intern spotlight. We are joined here with all three science communication interns. I'm Lexi. I am a PhD student at the University of New Mexico.
I am Kat. I'm an incoming PhD student at the University of Oregon.
And I'm Amanda, and I just graduated with my master's from UC Santa Cruz.
Awesome. So we're going to start out by talking a bit about our paths to earth science and how we got involved in science communication. And so I guess I'll start off. So I actually started my undergrad as a chemistry major. Didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew I loved science and I really enjoyed my chem classes and loved my chem prof in high school. And so I started taking chem classes and kind of ended up a chem major. But I started to get a bit disillusioned with, being stuck inside a windowless lab all the time. And it just felt very far from anything that I could kind of like see or touch or anything that had a real impact um, on people. And yeah, I ended up actually taking an intro earth science class about halfway through my undergrad. So I didn't get involved in geology right away, but I was taking just a chem class and an earth science class at the same time. And I realized I was always way more looking forward to going to my earth science class and I was chem and I was like, huh, okay. And at the same time, I was getting a lot more involved in outdoor recreation, and I thought that it was really interesting to try to apply chemistry to the outdoors. And so, yeah, I ended up taking more and more earth science classes. I graduated with a combined degree in earth science and chemistry. Um, and now I'm going to be starting my PhD in geochemistry and volcanology at Oregon, like I mentioned, in September. So I'm super excited about that. I took a gap year this year, and I'm really excited to get going and get back into research. And I found a real passion for volcanoes and volcanology. In terms of science communication, I've always really loved writing and stories. And I thought that this summer would be a really good opportunity to focus on it more. I think being a STEM undergrad, a lot of my time was always really focused on research and classes, and any kind of writing or science communication thing I was doing always had to kind of be on the outside, like a side project. And so I was really excited to just have kind of the time to really explore it. Um, and I think that's another reason why I'm so interested in volcanology, because I think it's a really good conduit for people to get interested in science. I think people are inherently interested in volcanoes. I think everyone kind of just thinks they're cool. And I think that it's a really good way to get people to care about science in general.
Yeah, Kat, I feel very similarly that when I first started my undergrad, I went into earth sciences immediately, but I didn't really know what about it that I would like. I moved to Seattle. I went to UW in Seattle. I moved there from Malaysia. So big move, big everything, and I wasn't really sure what exactly about it I was going to go into. And in my second year, I actually did an internship in Alaska where I lived in a tent for 4 months. And my entire job there was leading tours on the glacier. So we would do like 10 miles of hiking total every single day for like the entire summer, go back, sleep in your tent. And throughout this whole summer, it was actually all about communicating the science of the glaciers and teaching people about the glaciers who have zero context or zero kind of like geologic background. So you really learn how to like simplify things and, make things accessible to a wider audience. And when I finished the internship, I went back to UW and I started a job at the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network, where I actually was one of the student assistants working specifically on science communication and just kind of engagement. We did science fairs, museum tours, lab tours. We made pamphlets for congressional district meetings on earthquake early warning. And that's kind of where I was like, wow, I love the science itself, but I almost love the way that you can kind of simplify things and make them accessible to everyone even more. So because of my experience like on the glacier and at a seismic network, I realized that I didn't really want to do geology. So I went into geophysics after that. And then I decided to go to grad school. I had a really amazing undergraduate mentor, undergraduate advisor. His name is Brat Lipovsky. He was such a great research advisor that it made me want to go do more research. And I did feel like in grad school, I was getting to do all the science that I loved, but I was lacking that ability to kind of communicate the science in the fun ways that I had so much fun with during my undergrad. So doing this with Earthscope has been so fun to kind of go back into those things that I loved so much.
I also had an awesome undergrad mentor as well. I think it makes such a big difference in making you want to stay involved in research and just excited to do it and share your work.
Yeah, I really kind of resonate with a lot of the things that you said, Amanda. I stayed home for college. I went to Queens College. It's a primarily undergrad institution. And in my first geology class that I was actually taking because I was an environmental science major at the time, um, one of the first lectures, he was like, if you think you want to go to grad school, you should get involved in research. And I was like, I don't know if I want to go to grad school. I was the first person in my family to like complete a 4-year degree, so I like really just didn't have any background in any of that. I like knew of grad school, but I didn't really think it was something that would be accessible, but I just wanted to keep my like options open and see how things kind of played out. I was a transfer student, so I was just trying to kind of sink my teeth into my new campus. And since I was only taking intro, I didn't know any professors. I didn't know anything, so I didn't even realize that some of my instructors might have been grad students. So I just talked to my intro geology TA, who I found out was a PhD student. Um, and I was like, "Hi, what do you do? Can I also do that thing?" And she happened to do volcanoes. So over the next couple of years, I got kind of involved with what she's doing. I tried some other research projects, but the volcano stuff was just really exciting, and I thought that she was really cool, and I wanted to be really cool too. And so I kind of stuck with that. And when I graduated, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this grad school thing. And so I moved from New York to New Mexico. I love New Mexico. I did my master's degree in gas geochemistry. I've really just like looking at volcanoes from all different angles. So now I do more work with remote sensing and also bringing some of the petrology stuff that I did in undergrad back. But I more than even doing the science, like kind of what Amanda said, I like sharing it with others. Like, I know what I do is cool, but it's really exciting to explain it to someone and have them understand it and say, like, oh my God, that is really cool. Um, so I really just kind of connected with that and sharing it with people. And what I like about geology is it's kind of like it's like a cheat code or like an answer key or something to the world around you. I like now I'm looking at mountains. Growing up, I would see like road cuts if we like went on a road trip or something, and I just thought it was cool, but I never thought much of it. And now with this geology background, I can kind of translate it and decode what it's telling me, and I really 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 like being able to help other people do that.
No, I completely agree. And I think it's kind of impossible for people not to be naturally curious about it. So being able to like, oh, I can answer that and that and that and explain why all that is just amazing. Okay, next, I'm going to segue into what we've been working on this summer. This summer in particular, I just graduated from my master's and I've been doing a lot of writing these past few years. So it's been really exciting for me to kind of have my main thing this summer be a lot of illustrations. I've made a lot of fun designs for trifolds, pamphlets that we want to give out to station hosts. I've made a lot of fun stickers. I'm currently collaborating with Lexi on a fun trading card idea to hand out with like educational materials. And I'm also currently collaborating with Kat on a lot of fun comics, kind of communicating research articles in a fun way that anyone can understand easily.
Yeah, I to kind of talk a little bit about what I've been up to. Like I might have mentioned, I really love writing, and I think I've been doing a bit of everything this summer, which has been awesome. But I think I've mainly been focused on writing. Like Amanda said, we've been kind of collaborating on these comic representations of papers, and so I've been writing a caption, and Amanda's been doing the little comic, and it's been really fun. But one highlight was writing Caldera Chronicles for the Yellowstone Volcano Observatory, which is kind of a dream come true for me personally. And other pages for the website, news articles. But I've also been able to dabble a bit into some graphics. I'm currently working on a sticker for the Network of the Americas, and I'm potentially going to work on a block print style sticker. And then also learned to video edit with doing the other intern spotlights. So it's been a really cool summer of getting to experience a lot of different ways to communicate science, but I've really enjoyed having the space and time to prioritize writing because like I said, I really do love writing, and it was something I was really into when I was younger, writing stories all the time. And I feel like I've just been a bit distanced from that in doing undergrad research and stuff like that. So it's been really fun to kind of have that be my main focus and get back into it again.
Yeah. Similarly, I've been kind of dabbling in a lot of different things. I've been so scared of Illustrator, and I made my first cute little sticker in Illustrator, and I'm probably the most proud of it I've ever been proud of. I've never been proud of anything, not as much as this sticker. I have really been excited about working on some video content and some animations. So right now I'm kind of juggling a bunch of different TikToks and kind of explainer videos. And I've also animated some of the existing stickers and assets that Earthscope has, just to kind of make it more engaging. So that's been really cool, and I'm excited to kind of bring it back into my own teaching and research. And there's a couple things I have cooking on what I'll be doing when I go back.
Yeah, it's been cool. I remember the first time we all met, and I was like, "Well, think most interested in writing," and Amanda, you're like, "I'm most interested in illustration," and Lexi, you're like, "I'm most interested in video." I'm like, "This is perfect. Like, it's kind of like one for everything." So yeah, I've got to learn a lot from Lexi on video editing, which I was kind of hopeless at before, and Amanda's illustrations are all so beautiful. So I think it's been yeah, a good opportunity to learn from everyone, but still kind of have our own little section that we're most passionate about.
Outside of the work that we were doing this summer, do you have any other kind of hobbies or interests? I love New Mexico. I love Albuquerque, so I'm always doing sort of community things around here. There's always like a festival or a market, and there's a great secondhand market here, so I'm always thrifting things, going antiquing. I have my garden's really popping off right now. I spend a lot of time in my garden. I collect trading cards. I collect Neopet cards, which probably no one's heard about Neopets, but that's fine. But yeah, that's kind of what I do.
Um, as for me, lots of hobbies. The main thing I want to share is I've been getting really into hummingbird watching. We recently got a hummingbird feeder at Dollar Tree, and we get, I want to say, like 30 hummingbirds a day on our patio. I'm in an apartment, and they are so beautiful. I've started naming them. I can recognize them. It's been amazing, and I have a little hammock on my patio, so I just lie there watching them all day. It's the best thing ever. I love them. Other than my main passion, the hummingbirds, I love swimming in the ocean. I love riding my bike. Me and my partner, we go on long, long bike rides. It's great. And I have such wonderful friends here by the beach. So there's the boardwalk. We were at the boardwalk yesterday. We went took some fun photo booth photos. Um, so yeah, just having fun with friends in this beautiful town.
So for my hobbies, I think my main thing I do is rock climbing. It's how I spend most of my free time, and I love it so much. Something I got involved in during COVID, right before my undergrad, and was really involved in the climbing club in college and stuff. And yeah, I'll climb in a gym if I have to, but primarily I love climbing outside, like outdoor bouldering and sport climbing, so climbing with ropes as well. And yeah, I love it. But then outside of that, I do have other hobbies. I love doing other stuff outside. I like hiking, trail running. In the winter, I backcountry ski, which is super fun, and I'm excited to kind of ski on some of the different Cascade volcanoes. It's gonna be super fun. And yeah, I also love to read and watch movies, especially horror and science fiction movies. Also, live music. I love live music. So concerts, little concerts, big concerts. And yeah, I hope some good bands come to Eugene.
Such fun things to do in the Pacific Northwest. I think you're going to love grad school there, Kat.
Yeah, so now we're going to talk a little bit about our next steps. If we're going to stay involved in science communication, what's that going to look like for us? And yeah, for me, just starting off, like I said, I'm about to start my PhD, so kind of going back into the research realm. I think that being involved in science communication is definitely going to still be like a part of my life and my experience at Oregon. There's a center for science communication research at Oregon where you can be like an associate. So that might be something I get involved in, or do other fellowships throughout my time in grad school. I think, there's a chance that maybe somewhere down the line I would pivot into more science writing or science communication in the future after my PhD. But I am really excited about the research itself. And I think that even if, I stay kind of like pure science or just doing research, I think that being able to communicate it effectively is super important, regardless of whether that's your main thing or just something that you're doing in addition to the research. So I think regardless of if I, my current plan to kind of stay in science research, I think that having the skills and the knowledge to be able to communicate it effectively is super important. And I think it's something that is really relevant and critical for all scientists.
Yeah, I am trying to finish up my doctorate. As with most doctorates, I don't exactly know when that will be, but I'm gonna try to finish strong. It's been a little bit of a bumpy road, but I'm in a much better spot now. And honestly, taking this summer to do this work has kind of like reignited some of my excitement about doing this. So definitely hoping to stay in the science communication space. I contribute to, my department has like a news page kind of that kind of went dormant for a while, so I've been trying to bring that back and kind of celebrate the things that the grad students and faculty and undergrads in my department do. So taking some of the skills I've learned through the internship and maybe finding some new exciting ways to do that, make some additional content. I also write for the IAVC VIPS blog. So I'll be staying in the writing space, but I've really been excited about the video content and animations and those sort of things. So I'm excited to see how I stay involved in that and how I can kind of add that as a layer. I teach a number of classes usually, so maybe there's ways I can incorporate some of those into like my teaching and stuff, and trying to figure out kind of what next steps, post degree look like.
As for me, I'm actually a little uncertain about how I will continue to incorporate science communication into my life being post graduation. I'm excited to see ways I can do it. Before I was even in my undergrad degree, I did a lot of volunteering in terms of just like teaching kids how to read or going to science fairs. And I would be very interested in staying in a space where I get to contribute in that way. But I'm actually starting a full-time job as a seismic hazard analyst for a seismic consulting company. So I'm really excited about that. But big changes, and very different pivot. I'm excited, but nervous. Lots of uncertainty in terms of next steps, but very excited about it.
Even, as a consultant, I'm sure that being able to communicate your findings is really important, even if it's not like what you might think of as science communication. I feel like it's still being able to explain your findings to people that might not be scientists. I feel like will be super relevant and useful.
I completely agree, and I think that's something that people tend to not really realize. Like, sure, we're working currently as like science communicators, but any researcher that does any kind of scientific work, in order to make, because the work is already so important, but in order for people to understand how important this work is, you have to be able to communicate it.
And also with hazards, like, not scare people. Just because there is some type of risk doesn't mean like you're gonna die. Like, being able to explain it so that people feel like empowered to take that information and do something with it instead of, just go to the worst case scenario. It's like doing volcanoes also, like
Yeah.
you have to be able to talk about the eruption without people being like, oh my God, it's the end. They're all going off at once.
Well, I guess like closing off, what are you guys' favorite or most valuable things you've gotten from this summer? For me, I feel like I've been really able to explore the things I'm interested in a way that I was not able to do during grad school because you have a lot of things you're juggling. It's not easy to just be like, I'm just going to focus on what I really love to do, which is like, how do I explore this like visual storytelling aspect of science? So I've learned so many new things, and I've gotten to like dip my toes into video editing, which thank you, Lexi, for helping us with that. But just like even just like delve into things that I never thought I would have the time or space to really explore. And I'm interested, hopefully, maybe in the future, just keep doing like freelance illustration.
And yeah, I think that for me, one thing that I've really liked and has been very valuable is getting experience with a lot of different applications. I've used everything from Blender to QGIS, After Effects, Premiere Pro, getting more experience with Illustrator. There's just so much, and I think that it'll definitely be useful in grad school. Even if I'm not using necessarily like those specific applications, just learning how to learn a new system or something new that you just open something up and you're like, whoa, like I don't know what any of this menu, any of these buttons, and just not getting overwhelmed and kind of learning those has been super valuable. And then I've also just loved the freedom in terms of the projects that we've gotten to pick. I haven't started grad school yet, but I've heard that it's a lot of prioritizing your own tasks, structuring your own time, figuring out what you need to get done and when, and kind of having this long-term view. And so I think that this has been really valuable, even though it'll be, very different from the stuff I'm doing in my PhD, to be able to take a big project and then break it down into chunks. Like, okay, what do I actually want to get done over the course of the summer? Okay, what do I need to do this week in order to make that happen? Kind of thinking in that way, I think will be really valuable moving forward.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed being able to kind of like flex my creative muscles for the summer. It sometimes is hard to find time to prioritize that, in balancing the 96,000 things I have going on during the semester. So having this summer be kind of like dedicated to doing that, also doing science and, you know, why I'm in grad school and all of that stuff, but coming at it from this like creative lens has been really rewarding, and kind of like healing, and I'm definitely going to make more of an effort to stay tapped into this part of myself that I think is very important and ultimately is going to make me a better scientist and more marketable for jobs and all of these things. So really just taking time to remember that this is important too. In some ways, for me particularly, it's kind of more important, just given kind of what I want to do in the future. And I am not scared of Illustrator anymore. So that's been really great because there have been many times where they're like, hey, could you just like do this for me in Illustrator? And I'm like, oh my God, no, I can't. um, so yeah, that's probably been the most immediately valuable thing. All right. Well, thanks, team, for taking some time.
Thank you
We
guys
did
for the camera. This was so fun.
it. It was great. Also, just like I know we meet every day, but hearing a little bit more about your backgrounds and kind of just your framing for things has been really insightful. I hope you've had as enjoyable a summer as I have, and I guess we won't see you on the next intern spotlight. So thanks for joining us this summer.